Backlot. This is where we film the really big stuff. We're going to shoot what we call exterior sets. Those are outdoor sets on a very large scale. Now, if you look over on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll notice this giant cityscape passing by. Hopefully, I don't have to tell any of you that that's a giant digital picture that you're looking at. I'm sure you guys figured that out on your own. Now, that picture is covering up an area of the backlot that we call the Universal Studios Metro sets. Again, you can see the Metro sets going by on the right. And it's here at the Metro sets that we had that little fire back in 2008. You may have heard about it on the news. Let me show you guys how bad this fire was. Take a look at your screens. I'm going to pause this right here. What you're seeing on your screen is what the area passing by on the right looks like when we cleaned up all the debris from the fire. It was one big empty dirt plot. It took us close to 2 years to rebuild all the buildings here in the Metro sets. Now, as you're looking around, I know what you're thinking. 2 years? How'd you guys get up so many buildings in such a short amount of time? Keep in mind, the buildings that you see here in the Metro sets, as well as most of the buildings here in the Universal Studios back lot, they're not real. They're what we call facades. They're just the fronts and sides of these structures. We only build what the camera will see. Your imagination fills in the rest. What looks like real brick and stone is merely just foam, rubber, and fiberglass. Keep in mind, if you ever see actors enter these buildings in TV shows and movies, and the actors are standing in a room in the next scene, that room was probably built on one of the sound stages that we passed by in the front lot. Now, if you're still looking to the right, you'll see right in front of us that street with all the brownstones on it where you see the steps. That's what we call Brownstone Street. That is an original name for you. And Brownstone Street may look familiar if you saw the comedy with Jim Carrey. I'm talking about Bruce Almighty.
Grace the dog!
I'm in the shower!
Like that? Outside.
Let me pause this and let's go over this, guys. Take a look at your screens and take a look to the right. Those steps do look similar, but guys, I got a little bit of bad news for you. Keep in mind, Bruce Almighty came out in 2003. We had our fire in 2008. The original Brownstone Street that you see on your screen was burned down, but that Brownstone Street looks exactly the same because they used the old plans to build it. So it's the same spot, different steps, but it's the same. Does that make sense? Okay, cool.
Inside bad, outside good.
Oh, you're done now. Great.
B-E-A-U.
As Ingrid said, it's the same, but it's new. There you go. Now, right now, we're crossing over into one of the most recognizable areas of the Metro sets. This is what we call Courthouse Square. Some people recognize Courthouse Square right off the bat. Some people need a little bit of a visual aid. Take a look around. Some people got it already. Some people look confused, but you guys can look like that all the time. I'm not sure. Okay, let me give you the visual aid if you're having a hard time pinning down where you saw this area before. This is Michael J. Fox looking up at the famous clock tower building from Back to the Future. Yeah. If you take a look over on the left-hand side of the tram behind the gazebo, you'll see that building that says City Hall on it. That's the same building that you're looking at. I know it looks different, but keep in mind, guys, we here at Universal Studios use Courthouse Square all the time for different TV shows and movies. Every time we reuse it, we have to change the way it looks so you don't recognize it from one production to the next. Here's what I'm talking about. This is what Courthouse Square looked like in 85's Back to the Future, but 2 years prior, this is what it looked like in 83's Psycho 2. Again, that is the courthouse. The courthouse steps that you see on the left-hand side of the tram featured in the classic To Kill a Mockingbird in 1962. Courthouse Square was also featured in 2003's Bruce Almighty, but this one gets tricky, so I'll pause it. See the clock tower building there in the background? That's it. And of course you saw Courthouse Square in 1989's Back to the Future Part 2. Courthouse Square was also featured prominently in the TV show Ghost Whisperer starring Jennifer Love Hewitt. This used to be the town of Grandview. And you probably saw Courthouse Square recently in NBC's Parenthood and ABC's Desperate Housewives. I told you, you get confused all the time. From Courthouse Square, we're going to drive down one of the most popular areas of the Metro sets. We're going to drive down what we call New York Street. You'll see why we call this New York Street in just a moment. As we come around the bend, take a look to the left. New York Street kind of looks like Wall Street. You can see it's not occupied right now. And the farther down New York Street we go, the more it's going to look a little more like Brooklyn. Now, I can tell you how we use New York Street here at Universal, but I have somebody on board the tram that knows New York better than I do, because that's where he shoots his show late night. It's my co-host, Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there by an old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, It was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
New York Street will double as New York City next summer. The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. You probably saw New York Street recently in an episode of Chuck on NBC TV, and of course New York Street was featured in the first Transformers film. The kids, don't forget, we have a new Transformers ride coming to Universal Studios spring of 2012. I can't wait. Now, how can we talk about New York City without talking about its most famous for the United States president? I'm talking about King Kong. We have a new King Kong attraction here at Universal Studios called King Kong 360 3D. And this new King Kong is sponsored with a little bit of help from Academy Award-winning director and the director of King Kong in 2005, Mr. Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old.